Hello, and welcome to English for Everyone, where we practice real-life American English. Today we're going to learn to avoid some important mistakes and practice with the first and second conditional. So let's get started. First, this is not correct.
Studying can be fun and pleasure when you're learning from the person you really like.
I cannot say studying can be fun and pleasure. Pleasure is a noun, and it's countable. We can say a pleasure. Studying can be a pleasure. But because we're using the adjective fun, let's change pleasure into an adjective. The adjective is pleasurable. 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 4 syllables. The primary stress on the first syllable, pleasurable. Pleasurable. That's the adjective. So I can say studying can be fun and pleasurable. I cannot say studying can be fun and pleasure. We need the adjective here. Pleasurable. Let's practice. Can studying be fun and pleasurable? That's right, studying can be fun and pleasurable. It doesn't have to be torture. This is also not correct.
And the final tip for today is create your own learning mantra. Mantra is a meditative practice.
I cannot say mantra is a meditative practice. First, mantra is countable. I have to say a mantra. But a mantra is not a meditative practice. A mantra is something you say again and again. That's a mantra. So again, a mantra is something you say again and again, usually while meditating, but not always. Let's practice. What is a mantra? That's right, a mantra is something you say again and again, usually while meditating. Now let's talk about the verb. The verb is chant. So I can say chanting is a meditative practice. Chanting, that's the action. Chanting is a meditative practice, not a mantra. A mantra is what you say, and chanting is the practice. Let's practice. What is chanting? Is chanting a meditative practice? That's right, chanting is a meditative practice. Example, she's meditating. She's chanting. That means she's saying her mantra again and again. Let's practice. Is she meditating? That's right, she's meditating. Is she chanting? That's right, she's chanting. Is she saying her mantra again and again? That's right, she's saying her mantra again and again. This is also not correct.
The last but not the least thing you can use to stay motivated when learning English is join an English-speaking community.
I cannot say the last but not the least thing you can use is. This is not correct. This is an expression, last but not least. We cannot say the last but not the least thing is. It's just last but not least. So it's correct to say last but not least. Something you can use is whatever. But I cannot say the last but not the least. I just say last but not least. This is also not correct.
I recommend not practicing with a friend who speaks your native language because you're probably not going to use English, or you would often switch to your native language if you don't know how to say something.
I cannot say you're probably not going to use English, or you would often switch to your native language if you don't know how to say something. This doesn't work. We cannot use would here. This is an example of the first conditional. After if, we have a present action, if you don't know how to say something. This is present, so we cannot use would for the other part. We have to use will. I can say, you will often switch to your native language if you don't know how to say something. We have to use will here. We cannot use would. This is a real situation. This is an example of the first conditional. It's something real. It's not imaginary. After if, we use present, and for the other part, we use will. Again, you will often switch to your native language if you don't know how to say something. Let's practice. Will you often switch to your native language if you don't know how to say something? That's right. You will often switch to your native language if you don't know how to say something. This is also not correct.
Find a friend who speaks English. It would be great if you find a native speaker.
I cannot say it would be great if you find a native speaker. Again, after if you have a present verb, if you find a native speaker, I can't use would. I have to use will to make the first conditional. Example, it will be great if you find a native speaker. This is something real in your mind. That's when we use the first conditional. It will be great if you find a native speaker. But what if it's not real? If it's not real in your mind, then you use the second conditional. And you can say, it would be great. It would be great if you found a native speaker. If I use would for one part, then after if, I have to use past. If you found a native speaker. This is something imaginary in your mind. It would be great if you found a native speaker, if that were possible. That's the idea. It's not real in your mind. It's imaginary. Let's practice with both. Will it be great if you find a native speaker? That's right. It will be great if you find a native speaker. This is something real. This is the first conditional. Now let's say it's imaginary. It's not real in your mind. Would it be great if you found a native speaker? That's right. It would be great if you found a native speaker, if that were possible, because it's not real. This is also not correct.
When you're watching and imitating the person you want to be like, learning a language would be more engaging and you'll never get bored.
I cannot say learning a language would be more engaging and you'll never get bored. Again, you'll never get bored is in the future. I cannot mix will and would. So let's change them both to will. It's something real. Use will in both cases. We cannot mix will and would. Example, if you watch fun videos to practice English, learning a language will be more engaging. Or if you watch fun videos to learn a language, you'll never be bored. You will together, you'll never get bored. Let's practice. Will learning a language be more engaging? That's right, learning a language will be more engaging. And will you ever get bored? That's right, you'll never get bored. This is also not correct.
He's originally from Russia, and he has an amazing American accent and perfect pronunciation. It's a good person to shadow and listen to.
It's a good person to shadow and listen to? It's a good person? It's a guy, it's a boy, so we have to say he. He is, contraction, he's. He's a good person to shadow and listen to. I cannot say it's a good person. I have to say he. He's a good person to shadow and listen to. Remember, shadow means to listen to someone and repeat what they say. That's to shadow. Let's practice. Is he a good person to shadow and listen to? That's right, he's a good person to shadow and listen to. Thank you for watching, and if you like this video, subscribe to our channel. And if you want to become a member, click the join button. And we'll see you next time.